Coach Corey Wayne, and this is my video coaching newsletter. And the topic of this newsletter is going to be control freaks and abusive men. Well, I've got an email here from a viewer who is he's doing a lot of things that a control freak would do, and it's obviously creating some problems because this girl that he's dating seems to really dig him, but it's like deep down he's convinced that she's just going to leave him eventually. So he's kind of being an asshole to her. He's being really controlling. So I've got a quote before we get into his email I'd like to share with you. And it says, control freaks and men who are emotionally abusive towards women are actually men who feel totally out of control and deep down are insecure. They try to control the women they date because deep down they don't feel like they deserve women who would freely give them what they want. They therefore try to force women through threats and intimidation tactics to do what they want. In the end, however, what they fear, losing the one they love, inevitably happens due to their actions communicating their true feelings of unworthiness. Eventually, the women tire of their weak, controlling ways and leave for good. So let's get into his email. He says, hey, Coach, I've been seeing this girl since January, and we hang out once a week for sort of a friends with benefits relationship. He says, yeah, I know. I've been keeping it on the casual side, believe me, but now I'm having feelings for her. She texts me all week like I'm her girlfriend, asks me out to do fun stuff, but I always say no. He says, I've taken her out a couple of times, but I am not allowed to pick her up at her place because she says she lives in a shithole. Come to find out, she lives and rents at her mom's house, but her mother lives elsewhere. He says, yeah, right, I know. When she comes over on the weekends, we're in bed and also have a couple of sleepovers at my place, or have had a couple of sleepovers at my place, but never at hers. See, what this tells me is this girl's reaching out to you during the week, and you should be using that as an opportunity to set the next date. Hang out, have fun, hook up. It's just like I talk about in my book. This is what happens when a girl has interest in you. She's going to call you. She's going to reach out to you. And if you're doing what I teach, which is to only use the phone for setting dates, you should be quickly getting off the phone after you've made your next date. And then what happens is you get to the point where this girl's texting you and calling you all throughout the week. She's obviously into you. If she only wanted to just hook up once a week, she'd just call you once a week, come over, fuck you, and then she would leave. But obviously, it sounds like she's into this, but it's like you have this belief in your mind that, oh, she's not really into me, or it's just she's going to be like all the others and eventually dump me. And so that's inhibiting your ability to be natural in the relationship because you're like suspicious of everything she does. And since you don't allow her to come over and you're kind of being a jerk keeping her at a distance, it's understandable why you haven't gone over to her house. Maybe she's truly embarrassed about that. I mean, who really knows? But the thing is, you don't allow her to get close enough to you, and she's not feeling comfortable enough with you to really communicate and let you into her world and let you meet everybody else. That's what will happen when you're dating a woman and you treat her that way, like especially like if she's got kids or whatever. She'll keep you away from their children because she doesn't feel that emotional bond, that emotional connection developing with you. He says, she's always asked me to go and do things with her, but I always say no because I don't think she's that into me and we aren't in a relationship. So you're focused and worried about a relationship, but at the end of the day, if you follow what I teach, I mean, this girl, it sounds like she wants to spend more time with you, but you won't spend time with her. The whole purpose of courtship is hanging out, having fun, and hooking up. It's that simple. And this girl is doing those things, and you should be making dates, obviously, in the evenings that can lead to sex. Even if she just wants you to go to the mall with her, go to Victoria's Secret. You can pick out something sexy for her, and then take her back to your place, make dinner together, and have her put on that whatever it was that she bought during the day. Hang out, have fun, hook up. Keep it really simple. But it's like in other words, it's like I'll spend time with you once you commit to being in a relationship with me. And you'll see as we get further into this guy's email that he's all consumed about the relationship part. And what I gather from this email is that you just really don't understand how a courtship works. Maybe you've never had a real girlfriend before. He says, I confronted her a couple of weeks ago on this issue and asked her where this was going. Now you're sounding like a woman, because if you were a man who's used to getting what he wants, if you're a guy who has lots of options with women, you're going to be dating and having fun and hooking up, and you're not going to be interested in, you're not going to be bringing up the topic of a relationship because you're going to enjoy the fact that you're dating multiple women. And then when she's hanging out with you all the time and you're spending a lot of time together, the woman will bring that up, and it usually takes after about, that's if you're doing most things right, it usually takes about 2 months for her to emotionally get to that place. But obviously she doesn't feel safe and comfortable enough with you to get to that point. He says, she said, although she has feelings for me, she could never marry me, have kids, etc. He says, I told her before that I was not having kids with anyone, and she said a couple of months ago she didn't want any kids either, but I wasn't against marriage even though I have never been married. He says, I was totally pissed off and asked her why the hell she texted me all day every day, several times a day to chat, asking me out on dates if she has no interest in me whatsoever. It's like, look at a woman's actions. I say it all the time in my videos. If a woman is texting you and wanting to hang out with you and wanting to hook up with you, she's into you. If she was just using you as a fuck buddy, she'd come over once a week and fuck you, and then she'd leave. And what's happening is, like, you're keeping her at arm's distance to try to manipulate her because, oh, well, you don't want to be in a relationship with me, so I'm only going to see you once a week and treat you like a sex object. Because deep down, obviously, like you said, you develop feelings for this girl, and you want more with her, so when she comes to you, when she calls you, invite her to come on over, hang out, have fun, and hook up. And it'll get to the point where you're pretty much together 24/7. She's over at your place all the time. And then all these other things that she's not revealing, or it's introducing you to her mother or her family or whatever her situation is, when she feels safe and comfortable, she'll be honest and she'll tell you all those things. But because you're being inauthentic and you're holding back and you're being manipulative in the way that you're interacting with her, she's not feeling safe and comfortable enough to open up to you to do these things. So he says, she said that eventually the time would come where we would part ways and she would have a relationship with someone else, but she would like to be non-sexual friends with me when that time comes. He says, I read her the Riot Act. I told her I didn't want to be her friend, plain and simple, and once she decided she was done sexually with me, I was long gone. Well, I mean, that's one thing you did right. You're like, hey, I'm not interested in just being your friend. In other words, what she's saying to you is, I really like hanging out with you, but I don't see things developing to a relationship. Why? Because of your behavior and because of the way you're treating her. You're treating her like a girl you're just fucking and you don't really care about, even though it's obvious that you like the girl and you want to spend more time with her. Because you're not acting natural. You're not acting like a man would normally naturally act. If you really like this girl, when she calls you or she texts you, you'd be glad that she texted you and called you. Hey, babe, I want to see you. When are you free to get together next? And you make your next date, then you get off the phone. It's really simple. He says, in fact, I told her at this point we were through anyways. Don't contact me again. Now you're acting like a child. I'm taking my toys and I'm going home. He says, I said if she changed her mind, she knew where to get in touch with me. She panicked right away and backpedaled and said she still didn't want a relationship and said that she was fine and we could just keep being fuck buddies until I find somebody else. Well, obviously she didn't want to ditch you or get rid of you, and she didn't want to end things. But it's obvious from the way she's acting. She's trying to protect her heart because she doesn't think that she could be in a relationship, that it would work. And it won't. When you keep acting this way, you're never going to be able to have a relationship with her or any woman for that matter. He says, things have now changed between us. No more girlfriend bullshit texting. If she texts me, I wait until the next day or the day after to get a hold of her. And it's just a couple of lines at that point, and I ask her if she's coming over on Sunday. He says, she spent the night here Sunday with me, and she showed up Sunday morning at 10, and we had a really nice day. We took a drive on my Harley along the lake and stopped somewhere for lunch, and then she had a swim, but not me, though. And listen to what he says here. He says, I told her that if I was going to swim with somebody, it would be with my wife or girlfriend. So she went by herself. It's like, come on, dude. You're acting like a fucking 5-year-old. It's like she wants you. She's trying to pull you into her world, and you're like, nope, I'm not doing it. You're not my girlfriend, so I'm not swimming with you. It's like, come on, man. He says she knew this before we left my place, and that she would swim alone, but I had to watch my gear and bike anyways. She was really uncomfortable with me being so distant, and maybe I was being a dick, you think? But I was being her friend, that's it. She had her swim, and she came out of the lake and basically knelt between my legs as I was sitting on a log, bumping up against me, looking into my eyes, putting her head on my shoulder, and I could tell she wanted to kiss me too, but I didn't. Come on, man. I mean, have you not read my book yet? It's like, she asked me if I was coming for a swim again, and I said no, and that was reserved for a wife or girlfriend. It's like, dude, she's trying to come to you. She's trying to get to that point, but you're like, nope. Unless you make the commitment, I'm not doing this, I'm not doing that. It's like you're acting like a 5-year-old, dude. He says she swam again and we left, and then we had a walk down by the beach to change the changing rooms. I know she kept bumping into me, rubbing up against my arm, bumping up against me, etc., but I held firm, showing no interest. Why? What do you hope to accomplish by doing that? He says, I even tried your little tip, slowing down and speeding up while we walked, but she came right back to the speed that I was walking. On the drive home, she kept rubbing my leg and putting her arms around me, but it's kind of hard to get really intimate on a motorcycle going down the highway. Yeah, I could see where that could be a problem. But those are all good signs. She's into you. I mean, it's like you're seeing those things, but it's like you're all butthurt over the fact that she's not your girlfriend, but it's like you won't ever let her get close enough to you in order to become your girlfriend or for her to even bring it up. He says, we got back to my place, we had great sex and then dinner. I let her help me make dinner. She's always asked, but I never let her, but this time I did. It's like, dude, you're like a total control freak. This tells me you're totally insecure, and obviously she can tell that, but she still digs you anyways. He says, after dinner, we had a bonfire, movie, sex again, etc. I did notice, though, that when we had enough physical time, she had enough physical contact with me during the movie, she basically went over to the other end of the couch, and I let her be instead of snuggling up and being her snuggle bitch as I used to do. I went to the other end of the couch. The next morning, she helped me make breakfast, as I usually never let her, and then I got distant again. It's like, come on, man. He says she had to leave as her dog was in the kennel, but she kept she put her dog in a kennel so she could come be with you, dude. It's like, women don't do that if they don't give a damn about you. It's like you've got this idea, these rules in your mind of how things are supposed to be, and they're inhibiting your ability to be natural with this girl. He says she had to... She says, but she kept asking me what I was going to do all day, and I told her, well, I don't really know. I have several options, but now I'm going to go have fun. She kept bugging me to tell her what I was going to do, and I said, I don't know. I haven't decided yet, as I have several options. She sent me some chicken shit text later in the evening about something silly, but I didn't respond until the following day and just gave her the answer that she wanted, and I told her that I would see her on Sunday. My question, does this sound like a girl who's interested in me? You're really asking me that? Come on. Of course, she's all over you. She's touching you. She's coming over. She's making dinner with you. She's spending the night. She's putting her dog in a kennel. She's wanting to know what you're doing when you're not with her. He says, I'm going back to the beginning of my... He says, now that I don't... He says, I now have the I don't give a shit attitude, and I'm now going to pursue other women. If it works out, then fine. If not, screw her. Great. You should be dating other women regardless and having a good time with them. But it's like, this girl is like, she's trying to get closer to you, but it's like you're keeping her at arm's length because she hasn't committed to be in a relationship yet. Hang out, have fun, hook up. When she calls you, when she texts you, make a date. Be glad that she called. Hey, babe, great to hear from you. I'd love to see you when you're free to get together next. Make a date. Then maybe she comes over on a Tuesday. And then, you know, obviously you're getting together every Sunday usually. And then she'll probably call you the next day. Hey, what are you doing? Come on over. I'd love to see you. It'll get to the point where you're hanging out all the time. It's like, if she's with you 24/7, it's like, what's the big deal? Eventually she'll get to the point where she feels comfortable enough to open up to you and talk to you. And she'll eventually bring up the topic of, hey, where's this going? But right now, she doesn't feel safe enough to do that because you're keeping her at arm's length. So, I mean, it's like, this girl's doing, I I think he says, oh, he says, I'm 52 and she's 25. Well, that tells me she's obviously a woman who's a little older. She wouldn't put up with your bullshit. But this girl's young, probably doesn't have a lot of experience, and she likes a lot of the things that you're doing, obviously. But it's like after 8 months or however long it's been, it's like this girl should definitely have been your girlfriend by now. And she's trying to become that, but it's just like the way you're acting. It's like, she's, I guess, come to kind of realize that because of the things that you said, that you're not interested in a relationship with her through your actions. Plus, you just don't act like a normal guy would act. It's like, man, it's really simple. She's making it really easy for you, and it's like you're making things really difficult unnecessarily. So it's like, let her come to you at her own pace, hang out, have fun, hook up. When she calls you, when she texts you, you should assume, just like James Bond would, that she wants to see me. Let me make that happen in as few steps as possible. Whether you go to dinner or she comes over to your place and you make dinner together, hang out, have fun, hook up. It's really simple. You let her come to you at her pace, because it sounds like she calls you and texts you and she does pretty much all of the pursuing. Let her see you more often, and that's what will form the bond. And in a month or two, it wouldn't surprise me at all that she'd be like, hey, where's this going? Or, hey, I'm developing feelings for you. It's like you're getting in the way of that by acting unnatural. It's like, I mean, it just cracks me up, dude, the way you're behaving. It's like you're making things, you're complicating things totally unnecessarily. So if you'd like to get my help personally, the quickest way to get my help is to book a paid phone coaching session. And you can do that by going to my website, click the products tab at the top of your screen, and follow the instructions for booking a paid phone session with yours truly. If you'd like to get a digital version of my Kindle ebook, the second edition is now out. Underneath the email sign-up box, there's a box that has a link that'll take you right to the Amazon Kindle download page for my book. If you don't have a Kindle device, that's okay, because Amazon has free Kindle e-reader apps for whatever electronic device you want to read on. It literally turns your smartphone or your computer or your tablet into a Kindle device with their free e-reader apps, and then you just obviously download and purchase my book, and then it's available 24/7. It's synced across all your devices. It makes it really simple. And I also have added an option, because I'm 5-6 weeks behind on answering emails. So if you've got like an emergency and you want a response right away, I have an email coaching option under the products tab on my website also. And I will speak to you soon.